Brooklyn Independent Television.
Coming up, Park Slope singer-songwriter Bev Grant talks about a life spent using music to build a better world.
I came to New York City in my early 20s.
And the moment when a new member of her Brooklyn Women's Chorus discovers her own voice.
It's amazing. There are tears sometimes. There's tremendous joy.
At CUNY's New York City College of Technology, the Adhesive Theatre Project was rehearsing a play about a storm.
Storm watch today, actually. You may want to cancel the tour.
Then the real thing interfered.
When Sandy, hit us, it really just changed our perspective on the script.
This renewed interest has created something of a renaissance.
At the Brooklyn Public Library, fashion illustration has its day. And leading illustrator Bill Donovan shows the public how it's done.
Get a feeling of the figure first, you could change.
And Stranahan Zaleski Rosato, a jazz trio that got started in college and is still going for the best of reasons.
They're my best friends and we share a lot of musical tastes.
They're all caught in the act, art in Brooklyn.
I first got involved with choral directing when a friend of mine from New Jersey asked me to come out to Mount Clair and direct a group of women who had gathered together to form a chorus. I had never directed a chorus before, but something made me say, okay. Sometimes I would imagine myself as Leonard Bernstein, We had performed at the Good Coffee House up at the Brooklyn Society for Ethical Culture. A woman who was running the Good Coffee House invited me to come and start a chorus at the Brooklyn Society for Ethical Culture, where I've now been for 15 years directing the Brooklyn Women's Chorus. There was a woman who was on the staff at the food co-op, the Brooklyn Food Co-op, Park Slope Food Co-op over there on Union Street, who got the word out through the food co-op, and you just, you say there's a chorus, people come, So people came. We did a performance last year about immigration. We called it Mother of Exiles. And it went into the history of immigration in this country, with the Statue of Liberty and the Emma Lazarus poem, Give Me Your Tired, You're Poor. Mama, I see flame. And I'm going to sing my part against that because I've never heard this. So the thing I love about the chorus the most is the fact that there's no auditions. People come in with all different levels of singing ability, some with none. And the process of doing it and sitting a person who can't match tone, who can't, next to someone who can and who knows the parts, people start, it's an exercise. It's a muscle they never exercised, and it's a training their ear to hear in a way they never did. But they learn, and when they do, and when they discover their voice, it's just like, it's amazing, there are tears sometimes, there's tremendous joy, and, we all recognize when that happens.
She didn't have any life. Poor daddy tried to grab a bigger slice. What he got cost him a lot. Never hit the big jackpot. Ended up with diddly squat. And he finally, you know I can't be found. The big no all alone.
With my two older sisters, we had a trio called the Miller Sisters, and we appeared on local TV shows, and my dad was our manager. And, you know, the older one got married, and the next one went off somewhere, so I stopped playing. And I didn't get back into playing until I was finally on my own and started to get a more developed political consciousness. I was aware of the Vietnam War. My next door neighbor and I became friends and then lovers, and we went to demonstrations against the war. I discovered the women's liberation movement, which was this huge, huge epiphany for me to understand the confusion I felt about who I was. I mean, I grew up in a part of Portland that there were no Jews, and the Catholic family on the corner wouldn't allow their children. They could play with me outside, but I couldn't come in because I was a Jew, you know. But my mother wasn't Jewish. So it was like all this kind of like, who am I, you know? I came to New York City in my early 20s. I started to do music again, pretty much related to the fact that I had begun to get politicized by the Vietnam War and then by the women's liberation movement. And I started a band called The Human Condition. The first songs were like, take it to the streets, you know, very, you know, we're going to make the revolution. And then I started writing more personal songs about women's issues. I wrote a song based on a woman's story that we were making a film about called Janie's Janie, you know, and it was about a working class woman in Ironbound, New Jersey, who had finally left her husband, you know, after, you know, years of unhappiness. And the chorus said, my name is Janie. Yeah, that's me, but I ain't like I used to be. I'm Janie's Janie, not Daddy's Janie, not Charlie's Janie. I'm Janie's Janie. And that resonated with me, you know. I'm Janie's In the women's movement, I didn't go with that more radical feminist faction because I found them kind of humorless. It was not my vision, but there were other women in the group. We kind of got into guerrilla theater stuff, you know, actions. We wanted to be out there, so we called ourselves WITCH, Women's International Terrorist Conspiracy from Hell, with tongue in our cheek. You know, historically, women were called witches when they had power. They were fearsome, you know, the midwives were often burned at the stake, you know, the independent women. So we decided we would hex Wall Street because we did have an economic analysis, you know. And we dressed up and I guess we were the first occupiers. What's happening in West Virginia and many other coal mining states is the coal companies have found it more expedient just to chop the top off the mountain, you know, and throw all the shit they don't need down into the hollows between the mountains. So it's making it uninhabitable for many people and grotesquely ugly as far as, you know, when you think of mountain ranges, just imagine. No peaks, you know, it's just like. So anyway, this is Jimmy Weekly's story. Right now I'm working on an album with my singing partner, Ina Mae Wool. I also host an acoustic series at the Two Moon Coffee House in Park Slope together with my friend Carol Ann Solabello. And we present a other musicians as well as ourselves the second Friday of every month. Once I say that I want to do something, I find a way, you know. And it's not me doing it alone. I mean, I really do have support. I can get, you know, there are many people I can call on to help out with projects, to, you know, help move things forward. I like to collaborate. I really do.
Storm watch today, actually. You may want to cancel the tour.
It doesn't look so bad.
When Sandy, hit us, it really just changed our perspective on the script.
We're working on The Service Road, written by Erin Courtney and directed by Megan Finn. And we are doing it here in the Voorhees Theater, which is part of the New York City College of Technology, CUNY.
Well, Adhesive is the artist in residence at the school, and then this past semester we really were working to put this show up and make this happen.
Leah is a tour guide in Prospect Park. She's a birder and does nature tours for people in the park.
Oh, Frank, I am so lucky that you found me. Literally, I literally would be dead.
Someone else might have found you.
And thank you for giving me this job, too. God, I would be nothing without this job.
I'm lucky it's
And on this particular day, which is based on the events of 2010 when there was a tornado in the park, we see her go on this journey where she's helping this lost boy who she sees wandering alone in the park. And as she does, she finds redemption for some terrible things she's done.
Working alongside the students, I heard a lot of personal stories from them too, and that really informed the way we approached it and played these roles.
My name's Alexandria Botticolari. I wasn't originally involved in the production. What happened was one of my fellow students was supposed to be mixing, and he lives in Far Rockaway, and his house, my house had been devastated, but his house was even more devastated from Hurricane Sandy.
My name is Laura Salazzo. I painted all the trees and the proscenium and the deck.
One of the professors actually came to me and said, we really need somebody. This is last minute, we really need somebody to help out. And I was like, yeah, of course.
We were supposed to start rehearsals a week after Sandy. We had a very different understanding of the events in the play and of the real danger.
The downed trees and just so much damage happened. I do feel a connection to the play in that sense. So my house is on Long Island, and we're right near the bay. The water came up. It came up through our basement, almost to the first floor. So everything that was in our basement was gone.
We lost everything in our basement and everything on our first floor. And my car was the only car to survive from the storm. It was the only way that we could get from place to place.
I was in a part of Brooklyn that wasn't as affected, but you feel very powerless.
But being able to do something that can help those who you love, who are in need, I think is also really empowering. So we were also happy that we could help them, find a vehicle, find a way to help their classmates.
Corey actually came up to me and was asking me, oh, what happened at your house?
At first I started missing a lot of class days. So I emailed all my professors. I told them, listen, this is what happened to me. They just accepted it. They were like, okay, that's fine.
And the fact that the professors know all the students, I feel like that they can make that happen and that they really care about what goes on in students' lives.
And it was really great because there was a lot of stress that was off of me.
I have been working very closely with Laura on props and painting the set.
He was like, well, this is what we want to do. And I wasn't altogether accepting at first. I kind of was like, I don't know if I want this. And then my mom was like, we could really use it. So I was like, all right, sure, I guess we'll do it.
My contribution, I guess, is to make work and getting to see students get through this difficult period by just showing up and making your work.
I'm really happy to be a part of this production, really happy that I came on board.
We're curious about how this play can resonate with other people in Brooklyn. It's a Brooklyn play, it takes place in Prospect Park, and it's built by Brooklyn youth, you know, here at the school.
We're going to continue to help. We'll always have a donation jar out front of our show. If people come to see the Service Road and want to make a donation or reach out to these students in any other way, they can do that through us, Adhesive Theatre Project, or through the school. So we want to continue to make that opportunity available.
Come in, Frank.
Listen, if that storm comes through, be sure to cut your tour short. See you later.
Yeah, Frank.
My name is Brandon Graham. I'm curator of Fashion Illustration, A Contemporary Look here at the Brooklyn Public Library. I got the idea for this exhibition because a lot of times people think that fashion illustration has seen its day, it's come and gone. Most of the time, fashion illustration exhibitions are retrospectives. It's always showing the history of fashion illustration. So I definitely wanted to show the application of fashion illustration to the masses.
So today we have a special event for you. Bill Donovan, fashion illustrator, educator, and Dior Beauty's first artist in residence will demonstrate illustration techniques.
I've been involved in fashion illustration for 25 years. I want to get started because we don't have much time, and I want to just take you a little bit through my work and my process. What has changed dramatically today is that through the internet and social networking, you no longer need to have a physical portfolio.
A lot of the best fashion illustrators are now going online, and that's how they're getting a lot of their work. Jennifer Lilia has over 12,000 Facebook fans, and she gets some of the top clients through her following on Facebook.
I'm Jennifer Lilia, and I'm a fashion illustrator. I work in acrylic paint and black ink on paper, and that's just my favorite. I work the acrylics like watercolor, really loose. I layer up the color, and then I finish with black ink detail. I love beautiful fabrics and textures, and I just love paint on paper and interpreting them my way. I wake up every day and I paint. It's pretty awesome.
I'd say 80% of the artwork in this exhibition was for commercial and marketing purposes.
My name is Anja Krönke. I do a lot of work for Europe, for Japan. I use black pen and watercolor mostly. I tend to do very long necks. I think it's just somehow it's interesting to elongate the body and the neck. It's something very elegant. The wavy hair, I don't know, it's just something very dynamic, especially with watercolor. You can really give it some energy.
My name is Carlos Aponte. I'm an illustrator, and I do fashion illustration too. I do line work with ink, but also the ones that people remember the most, it's with masking tape. I think there are two ways of thinking. One will be more specific, it will be more lifestyle, it will be about goods, it will be about cars or traveling. And then there's the other side where the artist is more, take illustration to a different level. They push it more into fine arts.
My name is Don Ale. I get all kinds of people asking me about this particular Chanel girl illustration. That image is a really good representation of the work that I do. It's kind of my Mona Lisa. It's not necessarily technical, it's more dreamlike. I say I like to use a potato and an apple. So I call the mouse a potato and the apple is actually the computer itself.
And one of the great examples of the possibilities of fashion illustration is with Isaac Zanu, the main illustrator for Henry Bendel. So if you go down to Henry Bendel on Fifth Avenue, you're going to see his artwork throughout the store.
It's very hard to talk about your own work, but of what people say is that it's definitely humorous and elegant and whimsical is definitely the word. If you come to my studio, have a board of inspiration. It could be a movie, music, a photo, or a real person. As the Brooklyn Library did, I think it's an amazing opportunity to show to people what is exactly illustration and what are the possibilities. A lot of illustrators that I met, the show are just amazing, talented people like Bill Donovan. We're going to see one of his demonstrations. I'm very excited to see.
So I'm going to just show you a little bit about my process, how I work.
And one of the things I like about the demos is that it's a teaching tool to see someone's creative process.
You know, I have to warm up a little bit. It's fascinating to allow an audience into that world because most illustrators work in an ivory tower.
And what's nice about Bill is that he can talk and draw at the same time.
Just to get a feeling of the figure first, you could change. You know, the essence of it more than anything else. I'm not trying to capture anything other than you could change anything but the movement very quickly. You know, I start with the head. I think it's really important for you new artists who are beginning to always start with the head and let gravity pull down your line rather than forcing it up. You could change. My goal in doing the demo live is to share my process with an audience and explain to them a little bit about my thinking process, because most of what I do is intuitive. Fantastic, and that's also very important to have a really good model that you have a connection with, that understands what you're doing. But what I will normally do is get a model and do some drawings from that model, various studies of that model to get the personality and style and spirit of the model. And then what I do is I'll go, I might ink it a little bit, and I put dry paper here so I could dry it off a little bit, and then I put in the eyes because I just need to know where that is. I am basically in love with brush and ink, because I love the spontaneity of it. I also love the capricious nature of brush and ink because you never know what's going to turn up. I tell my students, don't get too fussy in the beginning because usually if you have a model posing, you're not going to have that much time. And I love that. I love the unexpected. And then what I will do is I'll put in the lips. So sometimes to demystify that process also perpetuates the genre of fashion illustration.
The reaction has been just phenomenal, and I think this exhibition definitely brings in a new type of crowd, and people get to know and hear about all the resources that are available here at the library.
You know, Donald Judd said a long time ago that painting was dead, and obviously painting wasn't dead. And the same has been said about fashion illustration, that it's passé and it's had its time and place in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and it no longer has an audience. And I find to the contrary that there's a larger audience due exactly to the internet. And as a result, this renewed interest has created something of a renaissance. And that was our last question, right, Brandon? Okay. Let's give Bill a round of applause. Thank you, folks. Thank you so much. It was so nice.
My name is Stranahan. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I play drums. My father is a jazz musician. My grandfather were both drummers. I was honored to be a part of the Thelonious Monk Institute's drum competition. I was happy to be placed in the top 3 winners.
My name is Glenn Zaleski. I'm from Boylston, Massachusetts, and I live here in Brooklyn now, and I play piano.
My name's Rick Rosato. I'm 24 years old, from Montreal, Canada. Pretty much self-taught. I went through a bunch of different instruments. I started on guitar, and then went on to electric bass, eventually double bass. And then I studied at the New School here in New York City for 3 years, where I met tons of great musicians, including these guys here. It's an honor to say that I'm a professional musician living in New York City, and I'm able to travel the world and play my music. I'm honored now to be a part of this project, Stranahan Zaleski Rosato Trio. And this project has been going for 2 years, yeah. Okay. I started the project in Montreal, and there was the main jazz club in Montreal, the Upstairs Jazz Club. They offered me an artist series where I was featured there for 3 months. And so I basically had to put 3 different bands together. It would be a good idea to give it a try with these guys because they're my best friends and we share a lot of musical tastes. And the weekend we did it upstairs was just incredible. We had to keep going with it and record and play and write a bunch of music for it. So that's basically how it started.
I've known these guys, Colin and Rick, for quite some time now. We were just put together in the New School dorms. We didn't know each other. It was just a very lucky coincidence. And we just got to talking, and he said, I play bass, I'm in the jazz department. I said, I play piano, I'm in the jazz department. And then we played some tunes, and there was an instant chemistry, and we've been great friends.
We've grown up a lot playing together. It's different from other projects because it feels like a family. It's not just about the notes, the music, it's something deeper than that. The music is creating a conversation through that. This band has recorded one previous album called Anticipation on Capri Records, and we have another one coming out called Limitless. We were playing some new music from the record, also trying out some other stuff, and we're preparing for a few concerts coming up. So that was part of the rehearsal today. Touring is wonderful because that was my dream as a young person, was to always be touring and traveling around the world, and I get to share music with people when I travel. It's been a great experience, experiencing all different types of culture, and I've been all over the world, and I get to do it all the time, and it's a never-ending thing. I've really found myself through that.
The experience of touring with these guys is amazing. It's really, really easy. When you're on tour, it's really important to get along with everybody because you're always so close to everybody at all times, traveling together, eating together, playing together in the same hotel. You know.
We went to Canada and Poland just to travel the world with these guys, play music for all kinds of different audiences. It was a wonderful opportunity for us to grow together, and we'll be doing much more of it in the near future, especially with the release of our next album, which will be in the spring.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at breakartsmedia.org/BIT.